In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, steeking and preparing for steeking. What is so fun about doing what I'm doing and having all the people in my community that I have is that I learn a few things. And, I'm not, steeking for me is cool. And I want it to be cool for you as well. But today I'm going to talk about something in particular about this steeking. We talk a lot about the steeking in the various courses that I offer. And sometimes steeking is something that you just need someone to kind of hold your hands. You need to know that you have someone supporting you when you do it the first few times. After you've done it once or twice, I'm quite sure you're going to feel confident and feel that, it's easy peasy, because it really is. But then again, as I always keep saying, everything is easy peasy when you know how to do it, right? So here we go. This wonderful knitter in my group, she had this idea, or she showed us something that she's done when she was felting, and I thought I was going to give you a tutorial on how to do that. I just needed to check it out first because I never ever heard about it. The thing is, sometimes I would normally use a sewing machine to do the steeking, and before I do the steeking I sew a line wherever I'm supposed to on each side, and then I cut it in between. But what she was doing was that she was actually using one of these, and these are felting needles. And you use them when you have wool and you want to felt small animals or that kind of stuff. You don't use it for felting a whole garment, but it's when you make stuff of shapes out of wool, carded wool. So I thought I had to get one of those because I didn't have any. And this one is bought. You need to be careful with these because they do. Oh, that's the wrong way. That was clever. They're extremely sharp. And what you can do is that you can either use it, like this, or a lot of them have loose needles, so you can bring out one. And that's mostly what I've done here because I didn't feel that it was awfully efficient with using the whole thing here. So I used one. And if you look at the inside here, because I'm going to steek this one, it's going to be steeked. This one, normally I would use a sewing machine, as I said, and this time I can't do it because it's too narrow, so it won't go through there. I don't have the equipment to do that. So at some point here, this is the edge. You can see it quite clearly that this is the edge, and I'm going to cut it here. And what I have done is that I've used this one needle at the other end here, and it actually kind of works. It does. If you see here, you see that this one is fairly fuzzy, which means that it has felted, and that means that the threads are starting to merge together so that it won't slip when you cut it. If you look at this one and here, if you compare these two, you will see that there is a difference. This one is much without the fuss, and this one is, here you have done the felting. And on this one, I've used one needle. The reason why I wanted to try this out is because, you can crochet along here when you do that, and that's perfectly fine. But what I find is that when you do that crocheting, it becomes too thick. There's too much material when I fold it. Because what I do when I do that, I never ever leave a cutting edge open. I always cover it up. And what I do is that I actually knit those bands and sew them on, because when you knit them in the same material in the wool, that wool will be, when wool moves against each other like that, it felts. Eventually it felts. And when you cover up those cutting stitches with another layer of wool, they will automatically felt together over time, which keeps things in place, right? So that's what I normally do. So when I do that crocheting, I get another layer of yarn, and then what happens is that if I were to fold this in like this, there would be this extra layer of yarn in the middle inside here, which would make it bumpy and clumpy or, thick. And I don't particularly like that. So I thought, okay, when I saw this idea from Joyce, I thought I was going to try it. Having said that, these are extremely sharp. So I started out working like, just holding it like this and then like this and then moving it up and down. That really didn't work that much because what happens was I kept hitting my fingers, and yes, it just bleed and it does hurt. So I had to find something else. So what I did was, one of those cooking hot pot under thingies. I don't know what you call them in English. I actually sacrificed one of those. So I kept this one like this, and I'm going to keep it for later. So what I did was that I put this one in here, and then I started, using the needle, right this. What I noticed was that, because what happens when you do that is, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to try to. This needle thing here has small, it's not even. And that's, those small little things, holes, or I don't know what you call it in English. I should know that. They are they go out from the needle, these ones. And this, when you pull it out, what happens is that you actually pull a little in the yarn, in the strand, so that it fusses up, becomes more fussy. And when you do this, one is that, eventually you will wear down the tip of it, which doesn't really matter actually that much, but you don't really get that hold on it because you see the holes are going further up here. So it kind of needs to go through and then bring it back to get that effect that we want. So what I did then was that I did these here, and I put those on the side here, in here on each side of this one, and that kept them in place like this. And now I could start working on this. And then I had this thing at the bottom which stopped it, and I also had this space here, so and I didn't hit my finger. So there you go. It's a bit time consuming doing it like this, but it's absolutely a way of doing it if you want to. Okay, so that's just a tip. That's something that you can do, and especially if you have smaller pieces and you don't want to bring your sewing machine out, or if you don't have a sewing machine, this is a perfect way of doing it. But what you need is one of those felting needles, and they come as single needles apparently, and they also come as these, big ones where you actually put them into one big like this. Okay, with that, all I have to say is good luck.